from your ISC2 registration and uh, onboarding. It was a nice one. Have you been able to see the models? How many of the models have you started? Have you started the first one?
Yeah, yeah. Just the first one.
Okay,
I
the
started it
first
today.
one. Okay, no problem. That's nice. So within this period, this remaining period, we're going to be focusing on our practical sections because I think we are getting to halfway of the journey, and I must say that it's been a nice journey. And all hope is that by the end of the journey, you will be able to hit your hand on your chest and say, for real, this was something more beneficial to me. So we're supposed to be setting up our home lab, okay? And before we could set those up, you must have installed. Let me even ask: have you gotten your laptop?
Yes, yes, sir. It's my laptop I'm using now.
Interesting, good. So you're going to be at the end of this class. Your most important assignment will be to install all the softwares that we'll be needing. For example, you have to install this is a virtual box. Once you install the virtual box, you also
Uh,
hello.
yes,
Are
sir.
you
I can hear you.
okay? Once you install the virtual box, you also need to install a Kali Linux machine running inside it. So this machine will enable you to have this virtual box will enable you to have different kinds of laptops that are running inside your laptop, and with those systems running inside your system we'll be able to um, do most of our practicals. Your hands are up, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I tried installing the virtual machine and Linux, but I I don't. Maybe after the end of the class, I'll show you the error message is saying. So you take me through.
It's all right, no problem. It's expected. You will still
Yeah.
meet a lot of them, but step by step you crash them and get it all fixed. So
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
before we go into by the today's class will now be on ports. We are going to look into uh, a component of networking and cybersecurity called ports. So we're going to talk about these ports, what they mean, how, and why they are important. So by the end of today's class, you will now ensure that your your lab is set up, all those softwares are installed properly. Then once they are installed properly, the next class will be to set up your home lab, then the connections, do some port scannings, start up from there before we now go into vulnerabilities and application where we'll do SQL injection, which is going to be your capstone project before we call it a day. So let's go into the port scanning. Okay, so in the context of cybersecurity and networking, ports are crucial points of communication. Very, very crucial. They are very important. And understanding them and why we should scan them is very important and essential for both defending the systems, and conducting penetration testing. So ports, knowing about them is very important. In fact, in your IAC2 exam you are preparing to take, uh, you should memorize some numbers of ports which are frequently used, and they will be you'll be tested on them. So by the time we are done today, you will get to know some ports, what they do, and it will be nice that you keep them to mind. So we said that ports are crucial points of communication for devices on a network. And understanding ports and why scanning them is important is both essential for defending and conducting penetration testing. So what is a port? In simple terms, we say that a port is a logical endpoint in a network communication. It is a logical endpoint. It is a logical door. It is a logical routing point in a network communication that allows devices to connect to specific services running on that system. And some of those services might be web servers, email servers, Microsoft services, you know, many kinds of services that should be running in a system. They all pass through a logical endpoint. They all pass through one door to go to where they want to go to. So when two devices communicate over the internet or over the local network, they send data to each other using IP addresses. But for data to reach the correct application or service on that device, that communication is to be directed to a specific port. It should pass a specific door. If you want to go to the bedroom, do you enter the kitchen? Are you there? Can you hear me?
No. Yes, I said no. Like no, you don't enter through the kitchen.
So where do you enter through?
Can you hear
Yes,
through
I
the
heard
room?
you.
Your room. You have to go through
Okay.
there.
So you from there you now go get to the bedroom. Okay, good. So the same thing that
Yes.
happens with communications and informations in the network. There are specific doors leading to specific services. And those are what we want to talk about. And they are called ports. So we have basically two types of ports. We have what we call the TCP ports, or the transmission control ports. Then we have the UDP ports, user datagram protocol ports. Now, the TCP ports are used for reliable connection-oriented communications. When you are going to private sensitive places, you use those doors. You use those ports. Services that like HTTP, these are for websites, file transfer protocols, etc. Those doors are needed for reliable connection-oriented communications. But when we are talking about UDP, that is user datagram protocols, we are talking about connectionless. We are talking about faster mode. communications that need very fast mode, and they are less reliable, meaning we are not too bothered on the reliability or how authentic they are. What we need is they should be very fast. Okay. And that is when we are talking about UDP. So when we are talking about very fast communication, very fast processes, we'll choose UDP. When we are talking about connection-oriented, detailed, accurate ports, we are going to be using TCP ports. So these ports that we're talking about, every device is made up of, every network device is made up of a number of ports. And those number of ports are somehow related or could be called entry points. So when we talk about ports, we are talking about entry points. And we say that they are of two types. First is TCP. What is TCP? Transmission control ports. Then we have UDP. And UDP stands for User Datagram ports. Why TCP stands for Transmission Control ports. So, just like I said, there are entry points. Could you take a random guess how many entry points are there in a particular network device? Let's assume that this is your router, your internet router. Can you take a rough estimate guess of how many entry points are available in a network device?
60.
Okay, guess another one. You have 3 guesses.
452.
The first one you said is 60. Second one is what?
422.
Okay, your last guess will be how many?
22.
22. Interesting. Okay, it will interest you to know that every network device has this number of ports.
6,000. Wow.
Yes, it is that much. We are talking about, okay, that's 535. We are talking about 6,535 ports. 6,535 ports or entry points in any network device. And you say, why is it this large now? That means it will create more openings for attack, right?
Yes.
Because at any point in time in your device, in your phone, in your laptop, in your Wi-Fi, this number of ports can either be open. When they are open, that means they are open for accessibility by anyone, whether the good person or the bad person. They can either be open, or they can either be closed, or they can be filtered. When we say filtered, it means we don't know whether they are open or closed. And most times, this filtering happens by maybe a firewall is blocking it so that you cannot know whether it is closed or open. So, at any particular point in time, this number of ports can either be open or closed or filtered. So ports are represented by numbers ranging from 0 to 6,000, 65,535. Is that 65,535, right? 65,500.
No, I think that's 65,000.
Yes,
65,000.
65,535. Thank you for that information. That's pretty much a very good number of ports. Now, when you have a house and this number of doors are in your house, man, how are you going to
It's
protect
good.
yourself? 65,500
It's
and
too much.
there are too many entry points. Okay,
Yes.
so and they are all divided into these two types, TCP and UDP. Meaning, if you want to do connection oriented activities, some ports will be apportioned to use the TCP and do those activities, while the rest will be used for connectionless or UDP ports programs. So out of these 65,535, some of them are well known, meaning you will be able to memorize or see them often. Some of them are well known. And mostly from 0 to 1023 are preserved for system services. Mostly, they are preserved for system services from port 0 to 1023. So we can see some of them here. We have the HTTP. Whenever you hear HTTP, it's just know that we are talking about the internet and more especially the websites. That is the protocol or port in which websites operate on. And we have port 80 and also port 443. Port 80 is used for insecure web services. When you go into a web page and they tell you this web page is not secure, that web page is automatically using port 80. Then when you go into a website and the secure lock is there, strong, that website is using HTTPS, which stands for, that S stands for security. The S there stands for security. So we have the HTTP, we have the HTTPS. We have also another service that uses the well-known port. We have SSH, which stands for Secure Shell, using port 22. So within your days and your staying in the industry, you will come across opportunities to make use of these ports, and you will understand more what they are into and what they do. But in this particular class, we will try as much as possible to break down a few of them to tell you, to show you what they do, how they can be manipulated or attacked. So well-known ports ranges from 0 to 1023. Why ephemeral ports? Ephemeral is another word for, what is ephemeral anyway? Let me check the dictionary and see what it means. Ephemeral. So the dictionary, the Google dictionary says ephemeral is to be used for a short time, meaning it does not last. Something you want to use for just that particular time, then after using it, you drop it. Do you understand?
Maybe something you just want urgent.
Yes. So ephemeral ports, they range from 49,152 down to the end. So we say that these ports are usually dynamically assigned to the client side operations or connections. So they are chosen at random. I hope my internet is not off. Yes, I'm back. My network dropped a bit.
Okay.
I have to switch
Okay.
to another network. Okay, so we're talking about ephemeral. Ephemeral ports, they are to be used for a short period of time, and they are usually dynamically assigned. Once they're done, once they're done being used, they just drop them. Okay. So the question here says, why are ports important in cybersecurity? From the little we've discussed now, what do you think, or why will you think ports are important?
Uh, I'll say like it's important for the entry of networks. I think, and also I think the cyber security uses port to access information from websites. Something like
Not just cybersecurity, your phone uses ports, your laptop uses
that.
ports,
Okay.
your Wi-Fi uses ports. Everything that accesses the internet uses ports, and it will be very wise and very good to secure these entry points. And that is why the first question here says, why are ports important in cybersecurity? We say that ports are critical because they define what services are available for external devices to connect to. Each service listings on a specific port. If you want to go through to search something on the internet, port 80 or port 443 will be listening because that will be the route or the door. What did I say port 80 represents? When you say port 80, when you see a website using port 80, what did I say it represents?
HTTP.
And what is HTTP? Is it secure or unsecure?
Unsecure.
What about a secure website or secure channel?
That's the HTTP with an S.
Yes, HTTPS. And what is the port number
Yeah.
it will use?
443.
Good. Each service listings on a specific port, and open ports can potentially become entry points for attackers. During our practical, we will learn how to scan these 65,535 ports. When we start our practical, we'll learn how to scan them so that we'll find out whether they are closed, whether they are open, or whether they are filtered. Because if they are open, that means it is available for anybody to penetrate inside to. If they are closed, okay, good, they are closed. Then we also know whether they are filtered. Key reasons for port scanning. Number one is service enumeration. By scanning open ports, you can discover which services are running on that particular device. By scanning an open port, you can discover which services are running on that device. And this is the first step for attackers or security testers to understand what they are dealing with. This is the first step for attackers when they are gathering information. They want to know if someone wants to come and steal your house, they'll first check how is the security of your house, which doors or which doors or which windows are normally open in your house. How do we attack your house? How do we enter? Should we enter through the door? Is the door normally open, or should we go through the window? Is the windows normally open, or is there any other door in your house that we can go into? So this service enumeration is what the defenders or attackers they do. It's like the first step they do to understand what they are dealing with. Also, identifying vulnerabilities. Once you find out the doors or the entry points, then you now find out whether they are weak, whether they have weak points. Okay, this window is open and is wide enough to enter a human being. This port is open. We can use this port and enter into this network. I hope you're understanding me, right? So, each service running on a port may have known vulnerabilities. So, scanning allows you to identify potential weak points in the system. For example, if you have an open SSH port, that could lead to an attack called brute force password attack. SSH, secure shell, means Patrick is in his school and this is Mr. Brian's SOC lab far away in Lagos. So I need Patrick to be able to connect to our lab to use the Wazoo, our Security Operations Center instruments, to use the instrument. So I will open port 222, port 22, sorry. I will make sure that port 22 is open, and the services that will be running under port 22 is Secure Shell, SSH, which will enable Patrick access into our SOC lab from wherever he is. And that is why SSH is used for remote connections. We've talked about HTTP and the border. HTTP and the border. HTTP is for websites. Now we've talked about SSH, secure shell, and we say it is for remote connections. Like I say, as you go ahead in your cybersecurity industry career, you'll be meeting them, most of them, so that you'll be knowing firsthand what they are used for and why they are being used. Another reason why we should scan or know about ports is for attack surface management. If a device has too many open ports, it increases the potential ways an attacker could exploit it. If there are so many doors open in a house, it increases the potential of attack. Limiting the number of open ports reduces the attack surface. It reduces it drastically. Another reason is compliance or unhandling. Hardening. When you tighten your system, it is called hardening. You are hardening your system so that it will not, be prone for easily be prone for attacks. Organizations are often needed to ensure that only necessary ports are open. Even when those ports are open, security measures should be kept in place to protect them. So scanning helps us to identify and close unnecessary or risky ports. What happens when you scan a port? Meanwhile, it is worthy of note that it is a criminal offense punishable by the law to scan the ports or to scan a device or a system that you do not own rights over. Meaning, if you go about scanning systems or networks, when you are being caught, you're going to jail. As little as scanning is. Why is that so? When you go to a rich man's house and you are going around looking at how the doors are, how the security is, don't you think it is it is one step
Suspicious.
Yes, it's very suspicious. So we were like, why is this guy checking out our security? Does he want to come and steal us? I mean, he wants to plan an attack. You understand that kind of thing. So that is why it is a punishable offense. Even though you might not have any bad intention in mind, but they will first catch you, put you for prison, make you talk. And I trust Nigerian police, by the time they beat you finish, you admit what you did not even do. Don't mind me. Police is our friend, and police will always stand for the good things. I was just cracking an expensive joke. So when you scan a device, you said?
Not all police, but we are good.
Yeah. But on a global scale, when you found doing this activity, you'll be arrested. And that is why during our training, we have dedicated sites that we own that we will keep open for our students to use for their practical, so that they will not find themselves, tampering with other systems. Yes, exactly. So when you scan a device for open ports, that means when you're looking for open ports using a tool called Nmap, you are probing that device to see which ports are either open, closed, or filtered, just like I shared with you earlier. When the ports are open, that means the services on that port is running and reachable. If you find out that port 22 is open, it means that SSH is available and you could potentially connect into that system. When you find out that the ports are closed, it means no service is listening on that port and the port is visible, but nothing is responding. It's closed. When it is filtered, that means the ports are being blocked by probably a firewall or a security mechanism. Meaning you cannot tell whether it is open or it is closed. and it is a part of a security measure. Yeah. So why should we scan ports? Just like we're already saying, scanning ports is very, very useful for both attackers and defenders. As a defender, you have to do this to discover weaknesses. When a company employs you to defend their system, you will have the right to first scan the system so that you can know what are the weaknesses that are prone in this system. Regular port scanning helps you to identify potentially open and unnecessary ports that could be vulnerable. For example, a forgotten service running on port 21 could expose sensitive data. Meanwhile, port 21 hosts a service called File Transfer Protocol, FTP. File Transfer Protocol, FTP. We've seen another services here, FTP. And it is File Transfer Protocol, FTP. What is the port number of HTTP? The first one.
80.
Good. What is the port number of HTTPS?
443.
Okay. HTTPS is 443. What is the port number of SSH? Did you get a look at it? 22. Good. The port number of FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol, is 21. Yeah. For your exams coming up, you should at least have in mind or cram, not just cram, you should at least know at least basically 8 to 10 of them, you know what they stand for. So that no matter how they change the questions, you know the answers, you know what the services are.
Okay.
Yeah. So a forgotten service running on port 21, which is File Transfer Protocol, could expose sensitive information, files and documents. So to prevent unauthorized access, we do scanning. By identifying open ports, you can configure firewalls to close them or restrict access, minimizing potential attacks. Also, to monitor changes. If new ports suddenly open up, that means if you are not the one that opened it, a threat actor must have gone behind you to open those doors so that he or she can be able to enter and penetrate when you are not watching. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So we use scanning also as a tool for monitoring changes. Yeah. As an attacker or a penetration tester, we use it to find entry points. Some companies can employ you to please come and penetrate into our system so that we can know how strong or how weak our system is. So when you are being employed to do such work, one of the major things you do is port scanning. You will scan to find entry points, to scan and to find points where you could enter from. So attackers scan for open points to find entry points into a network. If they find open ports, they can target services running on those ports. Example, they can try to exploit a vulnerable version of Apache, which is running on port 8. They can also use port scanning to do fingerprinting of a system, meaning to mark your foothold on a system. By identifying the open ports and services, attackers can figure out what operating system and software versions are running, which can help them to plan an attack. So when you get the material, it's already on your folder, you will go through some of these basic or most common ports. Remember, at the end of the class, run through ChatGPT, your AI is what's it called? Your AI assistant. Run through it, what you learned, what we talked about today, and it will expand to you even more ports. Okay, but these are some of the basic ports that you might be coming across on a daily basis in the industry. Port 22 stands for SSH, Secure Shell. What can you use it to do?
Could allow unauthorized remote access if weak passwords are used.
Good. Port 80 is used for HTTP. What do you use it for?
Web servers can have vulnerabilities. Example, outdated web apps.
Good. Port 443 runs service HTTPS. What is it used for?
Secure web traffic but might have SSL or TLS vulnerabilities.
Yes. Port 21 is running FTP. What is it used for?
Vulnerable to clear text password capture, outdated implementations.
Yes. If a system or if a login form is using FTP 21, someone who is eavesdropping could see passwords. When you type passwords, they could see it from their end. So 3389 RODP, remote desktop protocol, what does it do?
The remote desktop protocol is a frequent target for brute force attacks.
Good. Port 445, that is SMB, what is it used for?
It is used in many network services, vulnerable to attacks like eternal blue.
Good. Then we have port 3306 MySQL. What does it run on? What does it do?
It's a database service. Could expose sensitive data if misconfigured.
Good. Then last but not the least, port 53, which is DNS, domain name system. What does it do?
Could be vulnerable could be vulnerable to domain name system spoofing or amplification attacks.
Good. Perfect. So how to use port scanning? Yes, go ahead.
So what is the eternal blue?
Eternal blue is a kind of attack. So
Okay.
ask your AI assistant, let it explain to you. It will give
Okay.
you dates and instances of those attacks. Yeah,
Okay, sir.
yeah. So how to use port scanning defensively? First of all, to enhance security. You can run scans regularly to detect open ports that shouldn't be
Accessible.
accessible. Yeah. You can also close unnecessary ports by disabling services you are not using. You can also use firewalls to block access to ports except for trusted IPs or networks. You can also use it for monitoring for unexpected changes in open ports as part of your security posture. So, conclusion, ports are like gateways through which services communicate over a network. Scanning them allows you to identify which services are running, discover potential vulnerabilities, reduce your attack surface by closing or securing exposed ports. In cybersecurity, port scanning is one of the most fundamental steps in network reconnaissance, penetration testing, and securing networks. So, in this industry, port scanning is very, very important. So, you have some extra, stops below here. So when you're going through the material, you just take a look at them and add to your knowledge. So by the time we are ready for the next class, we should be able to do the following. We will, after we've set up our machines, then we'll run some basic scan. We'll run some scan. All the ports scans that we talked about now, all those port numbers, we're going to run them, scan them, and run the commands to check how they are. You'll run yours and check how your system stays. You also check to verify if truly your phone or your system or your laptop actually has that number of ports. Then you also find out if they are open, if they are closed, how to open some of them if you want. So thank you for coming around for today's class, which is on ports. I hope to see you speedily on our next class for the hands-on practicals. So for your, yes, before you ask your question, for those your installations that are hanging, send me the screenshots of those errors. Maybe tomorrow we'll find time and trash them out.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir. Okay, sir.
yeah, go ahead and ask your question if you have it.
Okay, so for the upcoming practicals, I'll need to download the Kali Linux
Linus, yes, yes, yes.
VM. Is the VM machine? Is it the VM machine? Is it any VM machine, or there is a specific one I should download?
For
Okay, let me
for ease of operation, I would advise you to get Oracle
uh,
VM. Oracle
okay,
VM. Yeah, so you just type watch what I'm doing. I'll just go to download
okay,
virtual box. It will just come out it should come out on the first screen. You see it here? Yeah.
yes,
So
okay,
when you download it, when you open it, it should take you to the download point. See? Download. Once you click download, it will download. Then from
okay,
there, you should be able to install it and it will come up like this. It will come up empty. Then you now start adding your Kali Linux if you have downloaded the Kali Linux. Then to download Kali Linux, um, where is our page? Okay. To download Kali Linux, I think say download Kali Linux for Windows. It's not for Windows actually. For Windows, so let's check. So you should go to I think either TechSpot or let's check TechSpot. Let me see if they are still good. Go to TechSpot. Uh, yeah. Scroll down. This is it anyway. Kali Linux ISO 64-bit. So if you click this, it should start downloading. When you click it, it will start downloading. Then once it's done downloading, you should be able to use it and spin up that machine. But just go through it, show me your errors, then we'll take care of the errors one after the other.
okay, sir.
Yeah, the recording should be
Okay, so
ready
that
before tomorrow afternoon.
okay, sir. Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good night here. Greet everyone.
Okay.